Solo Leveling was nominated and won Anime of the Year this year, but in my opinion, its power system is trash. Now, I know y'all ready to burn me at the cross for this take, but I'm gonna explain why, and I'm gonna give you examples of good power systems in anime and garbage power systems in anime. Let's do it. Alright, so the reason why I use such harsh words for Solo Leveling and call this power system trash is because it has no extensiveness at all. Basically, you're born on a spectrum from E to S in power and you're stuck there. You can't change. You could spend 10 hours in the gym a week versus an S rank nigga who spends 2 hours in the gym a week. You will never be stronger than that person ever. And the only person in the series who can get stronger and actually surpass his limits is the main character, Sun Jin-woo. I feel like this power system is lame because eventually Sun Jin-woo will be the strongest person in the world and we know it. Nobody can get stronger and he's the only one who can surpass his limits. I feel like this shit removes spectacle and it also removes power struggles. In our favorite animes like Dragon Ball, we wanted to see who was stronger, Goku, Vegeta. They were constantly fighting for power. And there's some moments that you could argue that Vegeta was stronger than Goku at the time. But Solo Leveling, an anime that's all about fighting and power, it removes that whole spectacle and in my opinion, it misses a mark. Another thing that makes it so trash is Jin-woo starts from the bottom. He starts from an E rank who raises to an S rank. So he kind of starts off as the underdog in his own story and it's meant to be celebrated when he catches dubs. Whereas in One Punch Man, for example, a similar story where Saitama is just stronger than everybody, it's not meant to be taken seriously. Saitama being the strongest is sort of a gag. And even the way how he became the strongest is treated like a joke. But Solo Leveling takes itself so seriously and it's meant to be badass, cool, and epic when Jin-woo takes a dub. But I feel like eventually that's gonna get stale because who can beat the nigga? And personally, I know this is a hot take, but I hate the strongest archetype. Personally, it doesn't move me and I hate characters who are restrained to being the strongest and no one can stand in their way. But shit, I didn't read the webtoon and I might eat my words and possibly the next season will be greater than the other two. And that's just talking about the innate powers that people are born with in this world. Don't even get me started on that fake ass mana system. Anytime Jin-woo is in a pickle, he has a full recovery move that is completely convenient and immediately brings him back to max mana. With all that being said though, I feel like Solo Leveling does what it's trying to do great. The fights are crazy, the animation is stupid, but for your anime to truly be immortal and be remembered for generations, I feel like you have to have good world building, good character development, and a cast that's actually memorable. But alright, I'm done taking this shit on Solo Leveling. Let's talk about an anime power system that I personally love and that's dynamic as hell. Now I know this isn't a hot take, this is actually a pretty common take, but I just want to express why I personally love this power system so much. Everybody has an aura called Nen, and basically to master it you have to be able to control said aura. Easily my favorite thing about Nen is the versatility. Everybody's Nen is different based on their personality and the effects vary depending on your Nen type. It reminds me of like zodiac signs. Like if people in real life had a zodiac sign and you had a different aura based on that zodiac sign and you had different abilities based on your personality that was assigned to you from a zodiac sign. And I know how deep that zodiac sign shit gets. You can have a rising sun, Virgo, Moon, Libra, Mars and shit. The variety gets crazy. But Nen has those exact systems too. There are people who have a combination of enhancement and transmutation and some omission and some conjuration with a little bit of manipulation, and it creates for crazy abilities with insane creativity in the show. Like Hisoka literally has properties of both rubber and gum in his Hatsu and he makes it look crazy. People can materialize Nen based on his properties and personality and make it useful in battle. I think it's so dope how an aura system is so structured and strict but also leaves way for crazy creativity. There are 4 major principles of Nen. Ten, which is to focus the mind, reflect upon the self and determine the goal. Zetsu, which is to put it into words. Ren, which is to intensify your will. And your Hatsu, which is to put it all in action. I know that shit kind of feels like homework and most people just want to see the action and don't want to actually sit down and listen to that shit, but me personally, I like it and it makes for an intricate power system. Alright, the next power system we're going to be talking about is the one I'm the most versed on and it's probably in my top 2. One Piece has 2 major pipelines that they distribute people's power from: Devil Fruits and Haki. Devil Fruits have 3 main subtypes and most Devil Fruits have a weakness, but the universal weakness that all Devil Fruit users share is that they can no longer swim anymore. But honestly, this weakness isn't super expressed, and most of the time the benefits are better than the downside. Plus, you're not weak to water, just more so the ocean. Every power needs structure, so the 3 subtypes are Logias, Zones, and Paramecias. Paramecias are the most common and they encompass a pretty wide range. They pretty much do anything except being able to turn you to an animal or turn you into an element like Zones and Logias do. Logias have the ability to harness any element and they are not able to be touched unless the user has armament haki, with some exceptions, but honestly that shit was fluke. Even when the person the Logia is fighting has learned armament haki, I still believe that being able to control any element is still a crazy power. Some Logias can just completely make you a beast, like for example Kizaru's Logia that gives him the power of light. It doesn't matter who you are, as soon as you eat the light fruit you're instantly attacking and moving at the speed of light, which makes you a threat. But to be honest, as epic as Logias sound and look, I don't think they're the strongest variants of devil fruits. The strongest variant of devil fruits to me are Zones, and that's because they have 3 subtypes within the subtype of a subtype. I don't know, this shit gets tricky, but the 3 subtypes are ancient zones, regular zones, and mythical zones, with artificial zones being the ones that aren't naturally made, so I won't be touching on those. Ancient zones give the user the ability to transform into prehistoric animals like dinosaurs. Mythical zones give the user to transform into anything of mythical legend, I guess. There's plenty questions about that, but I won't spoil for the people who don't know. And regular zones allow them to transform into any standard animal in the wild. I think zones are the strongest because there's no complete counter to them, and mythical zones are the rarest subtype of devil fruit and they have some pretty cracked abilities. With Marco's Phoenix ability allowing him to literally heal from anything, and we don't know what will happen if he awakens, possibly being able to revive himself from the dead. That's just a theory though. Speaking of awakenings, the pinnacle of all devil fruits is the ability to awaken. When Paramecias awaken, they can touch anything around them and transform it into their ability. We still don't know if Logias have the ability to awaken, and I don't know if they can, seemingly since we saw Kizaru fight at full power and he didn't use any awakening. When Zones awaken, they become bigger, stronger, and they sort of lose a sense of themselves and primal instincts. In general, I feel like devil fruits are a super creative and elusive power system. You got things that devil fruit users can't do, regulations on which type of power you're gonna get, and it causes for some creative cool moments in One Piece. But as Kaido says, haki transcends all. Haki is the innate power in One Piece that everyone is born with automatically. There are 3 subtypes of haki: armament, observation, and conquerors. What I love so much about haki is that each of these subsections are as useful to each other as the other. And when we dive inside of the new world and see all of the people who use haki to its full extent, it really shows you how crazy people can get without even devil fruits. Armament haki allows the user to coat themselves or their weapon with an invisible coat of armor that gives them more defense and more offensive capabilities, and they're allowed to hit Logias now. There are variants of armament haki that allows them to project their attacks and hit people from a distance as well. When you use haki enough, the black coat becomes visible and it actually gets stronger, as we see in people like Virgo and Mihawk. And observation haki allows the user to be able to sense people's aura and intentions. It gives the user superhuman reaction speed and allows the user to sense other people's power level. I like observation haki, but it's kind of inconsistent in One Piece and it turns off and turns on depending on when it's convenient, I'm not gonna lie. But the advanced technique for observation haki is future sight, and that allows the user to see a few seconds in the future, and it's super broken. When 2 opponents with future sight fight, it literally feels like a 3D chess match because you can see your opponent's future and they can see your future. It just gets fucking crazy. The pinnacle of all haki is easily Conqueror's haki though, and this cannot be obtained. Literally 1 in a million people are born with Conqueror's haki, and those people can use it to their benefit. The basic benefit of Conqueror's haki is to knock out any person with a very weak will. The more you train it and use it, the more people you can knock out, and it gets pretty wicked. And when Conqueror's haki is used against animals, they can also be subdued and controlled through it. The people that we see that really show the capabilities of infusion are people like Garp, where he completely just nukes an island with his Conqueror's infusion. Some of the strongest people in the verse only use haki and don't have devil fruits, and I wonder if we'll see an explicit reason for that other than the weakness to the sea. And although I love haki because it feels like a common power in the new world that everyone has, but only the elite people are able to elevate it to another level. All in all, I named at least 3 power systems, but comment which one that was your favorite down below. Me personally, bro, Nen just does something for me. Shout out to Gachi Akuta's power system too. I don't know if I pronounced that shit right, but I think theirs has a lot of potential and is gearing up to be one of the best new gens out. But I think the moral of the story is your power system needs to be competent, creative, and be able to grasp the viewers in the best way possible. And yeah, solo leveling shit, is trash. See y'all niggas next video.